Good morning, I'm Adam Sexton. The COVID-19 pandemic is taking its toll on human life around the globe, both in terms of lives lost and lives damaged. One of the consequences of the necessary curtailment of so much public activity is that kids in abusive homes are trapped, and those who might be able to help them have fewer opportunities to reach out. Here this morning to discuss is New Hampshire's child advocate, Moira O'Neill. Thank you for joining us on this holiday weekend, Moira.
Good morning, Adam.
So we have the benefit of some perspective now of 8 months of this pandemic. There's always a baseline of kids in abusive homes in our society. But how has that dynamic metastasized in this new normal?
Sure. Thank you for that question. You know, certainly after these many months, we're getting a little bit of better handle on things. We certainly saw a huge dip early on in the spring when children stopped going to school. And, you know, generally a good proportion of reports to the Division for Children, Youth and Families about suspected abuse or neglect come from school personnel. That's your teachers, nurses, guidance counselors. So without those eyes on kids, we did see a drop in reports. By the end of the summer, we started to see those numbers sort of balance out a little bit. What hasn't changed is that there's still the same number, about the same number of cases that are being opened in child protection. And DCYF has been able to sort of mobilize. We've done a lot of training with teachers on how to recognize abuse and neglect over these kinds of remote virtual interactions with kids. But it's still really important that everyone in the community pay attention to children around them, check in with them, ask them how they're doing, ask parents how they're doing. This is an incredibly stressful time for all of us.
And you mentioned the reporting there. How are teachers and other educators able to reach out and connect? You know, a lot of schools, aren't even back in person. And if they are back, it's just a couple of days a week. There are masks on. That communication, the ability to connect with those kids is harder.
Yeah, it certainly is. And as I mentioned, you know, there's a program called Know and Tell, which is a part of the Granite State Children's Alliance. And they've been doing a lot of education in general about mandated reporters. We're all mandated reporters of abuse and neglect. But they've also been offering some good guidance for teachers to learn to recognize any signs of distress for children. And I think that by now, although, you know, the uncertainty and the back and forth, you know, hands down for teachers who are, you know, trying to be as flexible as they can. One day they're in class, the next day they're not. But I think they are getting better at starting to identify. And depending upon the school district, there's been some assistance. There's certainly pediatricians' offices are trying to help reach out to families where children aren't participating in school. School resource officers have been mobilized in some places to check on families. And really, we're depending a lot on neighbors, people otherwise in the community, even the UPS driver, the mailman, to pay attention if it looks as though they're encountering children who are under distress, to call the central intake line of DCYF and get someone to get out and check on children. You
mentioned the no-shows there. In the state's urban centers in Manchester and Nashua, we've heard anecdotally of some kids who are not participating in the online classes, but have kind of fallen off the map altogether. They're not in school at all. Do you have a handle on how many kids that might be in those larger cities? And what's your level of concern for those children long term? We could see some real impacts for them through their lives.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have exact numbers there, and I think that they have seen dips, but you know, the encouraging thing is that the data that DCYF is sharing with us is showing that they're starting to be sort of coming back to normal numbers. We don't know what will happen now coming into the holidays, but I think we are doing better at identifying that. In terms of the long-term effects, I mean, I think it's really important for all of us to recognize that the uncertainty, the isolation, the fear of what's happening here. We're seeing a lot of loss with people who are ill and dying. This is a trauma. This is a trauma for all of us. This is an adverse childhood experience, and we can expect that children may be feeling the repercussions of this and these disconnections from their social networks for a long time to come. We know that children can be resilient, but we have to support that. We have to be sure that there's a consistent, caring adult in their life. We have to be sure that they feel valued. Parents now have to be really creative in activities. And one of the small things that we may not think of as truly, life-changing, right now, one of the most irritating things in children's lives as far as caregivers are concerned is cell phones. It turns out that right now for young people, cell phones are their key connection to their social networks. And so using cell phones as forms of punishment is really, could be critically dangerous. So teaching good etiquette on using cell phones and making sure that children are connecting with people directly around them, but allowing children to have that bandwidth to be in touch with their friends through their digital devices will be really important while we're isolated from each other.
It's interesting you mentioned that. It can be irritating for parents and families, but it is a lifeline for sure. There are
Absolutely.
practical concerns here as well that you brought up in your annual report. What about kids in state care? Has DCYF been able to figure out a way to quarantine or isolate children who've been exposed to COVID-19? Because that was a problem early on.
It is, and I think we can say that it still is a problem. We're starting to see children who are in residential care. I think there's about 31 children who have been infected at this point, including a child who's infected a second time. So that should be sort of a warning to us that we really need to be careful about this. So there was a directive. We were pleased to be a part of encouraging the department to put a directive out early in the spring to make sure that all DCYF personnel are conducting assessments to make sure that it's not possible that children could be safely taken care of in the community so they can avoid going into congregate settings. And we're hoping all staff are doing that, finding ways to support families so that children can stay home. And this speaks to the array of services in the community. Now more than ever, it's important that we have that infrastructure. You'll remember in 2019, Senate Bill 14 created and allocated funds for expanding the system of care, including mobile crisis response. There's been some delays in getting all of that rolled out. We really need those services to start mobilizing, to use the same word, so that families can get support with children at home so they don't have those exposures to the virus and other traumas if they have to leave the house.
You mentioned before mental health, and these youth have already been traumatically disconnected in some way from love and care in their lives. And really what the pandemic has done is made it harder to get those connections in the right place, right? The foster families are having a harder time getting in and things like that. It's just not as easy to connect as it was. You mentioned the cell phones, but what's the overall impact here on mental health for these youth who are already so at risk?
Sure, we're seeing a lot more anxiety and depression amongst children. I mentioned emergency departments. We saw a high of 36 children waiting in emergency departments for psychiatric care in the past couple of months. We really need to be on top of that and making sure that we've got services. There's a group of advocates who just reached out to the governor last week to look for ways to create some gap services to serve children intensively at home while we're waiting for the system of care to be rolled out. We're hoping that we'll perhaps use lapse funds of money that wasn't used to set up this, because there's been this delay in rolling out the system of care to pay for that. But there have been some good things. Early on, Joe Ribson, the director at DCYF, made it a point to get care recovery funds to provide devices to families. So they all have tablets, they have phone service, they have cell phones if they need them. So that kids can stay in touch and families can still participate. We've seen actually an uptick in the number of visits that child protective workers and juvenile justice parole and probation officers are making with families. We've seen a lot more participation in therapy because they're able to do it remotely. And actually, we hope some of that will stay after the pandemic's over, because there's much more engagement of families when they don't have to be worrying about transportation and taking time off to work to be able to participate in the things they need to do to make their families stronger.
There was an important change in your mandate made in the omnibus bills that passed en masse during the last legislative session. You have quite a bit more oversight power of not just the state, but state-funded services as well. So what are your plans for that new power?
Yes, we do. And I have to say, after this agency has only been in operation for 3 years, it was a real vote of confidence that the legislature and the governor supported the bill that expanded the jurisdiction of the Office of the Child Advocate. So we don't expect things to be too very different. Certainly the workload may increase. But what this aligns with is the philosophy that we really need to get ahead of children being abused, neglected, or adjudicated, and to help support development of those preventative systems that will keep children out of DCYF care. So having oversight is really another way of saying being at the table and having children's voices at the table in other services like mental health, behavioral health, child development services early on, and one thing that we've seen missing a lot is developmental disability services. So to be able to be part of that conversation and bring people together who haven't been connected with each other to find good solutions for children and the services they need is a real opportunity, and we're pleased to be able to have this.
And as we wrap up here, I hate to stick you with the big question for just a quick answer, but how much of a setback is this pandemic causing to the global effort to reform child protective services in New Hampshire?
It's setting back, and it's also good. I mean, it's certainly delayed in us as rolling out services, but we've also been forced to be creative and find ways to connect with families, which I think have been, a really positive outcome. We now have diversion services in the north of the state that we never had before because we have remote capacities. And so there's some good things that are coming from this. We're having to learn under adversity, but it has been tough, and it's tough on kids.
All right, Moira O'Neill, New Hampshire's child advocate, thank you for your time and good luck with your efforts.
Thank you. Have good holidays, Adam.
You as well.